But this is what they look like over time. They will break. I looked online to see what's available, and what I could find was not exactly like this, but similar. And it might work, but I didn't want to go and buy a bunch of parts and see if they work. So I ended up making my own. These are the locks I took out of my RV. As you can see, 3 of them are broken, and then there's one good one. And so this good one is the one that I casted. Also, I found that only this works on the left side of the RV, and I needed one that worked on the right side. So what I ended up doing was making a quick mold of this, and then I made one, I cut it, and I flipped it, and I glued it back on, and so this is the one that I made for the other side of the RV. So to do a mold, you need to take some clay. You don't need to use clay, but I like using clay because I can actually lay the part down and leave it on it while I mold it. The walls I'm going to make are also out of clay. You don't have to use clay. You can use other materials like plastic or cardstock and stuff like that if you want to. So I'm just making a little box, simple box like this. So for walls, take a lot of clay if you have it. If you don't, you can use cardstock like I said, or plastic. You can use it, put it in a tin can, whatever you want. Just got to make sure that the silicone, when you do make it, it won't leak out of it. All right. So I just rolled this out with a rolling pin, made my clay flat. Now I'm going to cut it into a strip. I just had this fillet knife that I doled it down a lot and took off the tip. And this is what I use for cutting clay, so it's not very dangerous. Set these back on here where I want them. I just press them down a little bit because they probably won't float away, but it's good to put them down kind of safe like. And then I'm just going to run this clay around it like that. You want to make sure that the clay is away from your part. You don't want the clay touching your part. If it is touching your part, then you know that you won't have silicone there for your mold. So just make sure that you make it as, give yourself about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, depending on, what you're doing. But me, I'm trying to just make sure that I have enough room. Okay, I have a silicone here. This is a tin cure. It's a 10-to-1 mixture, so 10 to 1, as you can see here. And as I mix it in, this will be a good silicone for making our mold. So I'm going to mix this in. It usually comes in clear, blue, or green. I bought it in clear and I added coloring, but you can buy it in, the blue is pretty standard. So I added blue just so you can see it. And as you mix it, you just got to go slowly. It's going to get air bubbles in it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to lift it kind of high in the air to have a really fine stream so that I can pour it in my mold that way and minimize air bubbles. And remember to mix it really well. Try and get it out of all the corners, off the walls as best you can, and mix it in super well. This has a good working time. I can probably work with this for 15 minutes or more, depending on the type you get. And then I let it cure for a good, 6 to 8 hours, sometimes longer. Colder climates, it would be slower. In warmer climates, quicker. So I'll probably let it sit till pretty much overnight and then come back to it in the morning. Okay, so now that I got it mixed in really well, now I'm going to pour it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it up pretty high, so you won't see it in camera, but you'll see a fine little stream pouring, dripping into it. And that little stream is what keeps a lot of the air bubbles out, because they kind of pop in that little tiny stream. I am holding it probably 2.5 feet above the mold right now. 2.5 feet above this little guy here. And I'm letting it slowly creep into all the spots. And as it gets to the top of this, I'll stop. And then that'll be enough for my mold. Okay. There we go. And now I'm going to let that sit and cure. And I'll get back to it in the morning. Okay. The silicone is dry. Let's pull it away. Check it out. My shop's a little warm, so the clay is super soft. But there are the pieces. They look really good. This turned out really nice. So I'm going to trim away all this extra flapping silicone and make this look really nice. All right, let's go ahead and trim away this silicone here, just to make this look nice, and also do this too, so it just looks nice. Good thing about silicone is, in general, silicone only sticks to silicone. So I didn't actually use any type of a mold release for these. So I just gently, I'm just gently taking it out. So I'm trying not to tear the silicone, but I just want to break away the suction a little bit away from it so I can get it out. So just slowly pushing it away from all directions. All right, this one seems to be the easiest to get out first, so I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this piece here. Slowly push it out. There we go. There's one. So now I can get this one. Slowly push it out like that. There we go. There's two molds now. I got some denatured alcohol here. I bought it. You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's. And then I'm just going to clean this out as best I can. Just scrub it out a little bit. It's always good to start with a clean mold. Then I take a paper towel and kind of dab it out. Now I'll let this dry for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll start pouring some parts. All right, I have a black casting resin here. It's a 1-to-1 or 50-50 mix. I'm going to cast it in this because this is the color of my original. This is a casting resin. So I'm stirring it up, and then I'll pour it in the mold. Okay, just like that. Pour it in this whole section. Okay, there we go. I'll let that cure, and then we'll remove it when it's hardened. All right, I'll let them set for a while. They're nice and cured and hard and ready to pull out. So let's pull them out now. And I find if you push through the bottom, you can kind of lift it out a little bit. And there we go, a nice, very nice. And very nice. They're really nice. They're semi-rigid. They got a little bit of flex, which is really good. And I'll do a little sanding on the back to take that little roughness off. And they should be perfect for the RV. I'm going to cast another 2 more or 3 more sets. I'll probably cast some extras so I can have them just for if something does break. I'll have a little drawer for a couple of these. And they'll be perfect for my RV. All right, here we go. There's the sets that I poured. Everything's ready to be installed in my RV. These are the screws I'm going to use. I'm going to use a washer and also these acorn nuts for the other end to make it nice and finished look. Here I'm using a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill out the rivet. Now I'm installing with the new screw. And I use a screw and a washer on one side, and then it was just straight plastic against the metal frame. And there's my acorn nut. I didn't show it, but I did add a little super glue in the acorn nut. That actually keeps the acorn nut from ever slipping away. It just stays glued in place. And there's the lock. It works really nice. Thank you for watching.